simple UX solutions.
So. Yeah, and I also think it's an issue over here where most of the time the people that are making the decisions, they are not focusing on the value, but instead they are more looking at the network they have.
Yeah.
So if you are not connected to people of power, it's very difficult for you.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. What is the theme song? You have
a song.
I think some good please.
Alright. But you see, somebody's thinking it for you.
Okay. No, let's not get used back now. We are here already, but
okay, yes. Guess what?
Hey, it's okay. Alright guys. Alright guys, welcome back to the JunkieTalks podcast. Some intro song we play. We don't know when it will play, but we have a special guest with us here. I think if you listened or watched the very first episode, I mentioned a very special someone will join us here. I said here, but he's sitting here. So
right there.
Come on. His name is Eugene. He's from the Netherlands, and say hi to him.
Hello.
Clap.
You're welcome.
So I'll let him introduce himself, but I'll get into that. Before then, we have, as usual, the stand-up. Eugene is going to tell us what he's up to. Anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be work. Anything personal, work, career, whatever. Fun. And so, Eugene, over to you.
Well, thanks, Sam. Hello, everyone. I'm Eugene. I'm going to go straight to what I'm working on. Currently, I'm a freelancer. I started working as a freelancer this January. So it's been a lot of branding myself, making a brand for myself and everything. And already I've started speaking with big companies already to be more like lead design for their product teams to help with collaboration and bringing new strategies and innovation to the company. It's been fun, and I'm back to something I always enjoyed doing, which was writing. As a freelancer, I have enough time to just write anything that I wake up in the morning. I'm like, I want to be a designer who designs with ethics. So I write something about ethics. I want to write about emotional, awareness and being able to manage your emotions when it comes to working and career. That's also I write. So I've been quite busy writing more and just planning next moves more from collaborations point of view. That's why I'm here. Yeah. Also, I was really looking forward to this, I'm looking forward to what I can do more. And currently, I'm thinking of starting a publication on Medium to focus more on career growth, more in design, stuff like that. And my niche, like the writers I would like to join the publication would be people in Ghana here, because that is something that I feel like people also need to see our way of thinking, not just the visual part, but how we think, how we write. Because I believe that when you write as a designer, if you write, you're able to really structure your thoughts, and that is reflected in how you work. So that's also something I'm going to start soon. So I'm going to start a publication and just grow it, because also for medium.com, you can actually earn money when you write. So this is also a way I want to help out by putting a publication out there that people will see. When people see it and read it, they clap for you, and you get even within a week, you can at least get like $100, and you are good to go. So it's about finding different sources of income to help people, and that's what I'm currently working on.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah? Wow. All right. I said a lot.
I think I'm fully aware of the fact that you like to help and give back to the Ghana community. It's something we're discussing a lot about. So hopefully we can do more. He's very passionate about it. You guys check him out on Medium, check him out on Instagram,
and LinkedIn as well. I think for me, LinkedIn is something that I really work on, because I have a lot of following on LinkedIn, both from companies I've worked in, like Adidas, Schiphol Airport, like so many big companies. So I try to push people more on LinkedIn so that they also get seen by that international audience as well. So you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Eugene Bos, the boss is with one S. It's not a nickname. It's actually my surname.
You know what reminded me? Calibos. The only boss with one S.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not just only boss with one S. Right? There's another one. So Eugene Bos on LinkedIn, and I am Boss on Instagram. So just find me, and when you reach out, we will start chatting about writing on the publication, and we can brainstorm together. I don't want to see it as I start a publication and bring people in, but I want it to be like we all started together so that I get the feedback from everyone before it even starts, so that I can grow the community with what we want and not just what I envision, you know? So that's the plans I have, and that's what I'm working on.
Already, yeah, so many things. I mean, he has already given one tip about monetization, which is in terms of the writing. Right.
Yeah.
Because someone like this guy, he likes writing a lot.
Yeah.
Right? So if you find a designer,
we are going to talk
yeah. Please, you have to work.
Definitely. I've been reading the article.
I'll take it.
20%.
But yeah, I mean, you said you started freelancing this year, right?
Yeah.
Right now we know what he's working on, so let's get into the conversation.
Yeah.
Right? You started freelancing this year, so before that you were working full time.
Yeah, full time. So
was there any decision as to why you moved from that side?
Okay, so let's go a bit reverse into the past. So I was born and raised in Ghana. I lived in Ghana for 28 years. Right now I'm in my 30s, mid 30s. So just started the mid 30s, you know. And before then, when I moved from here to Ghana, I was working as a visual designer. Okay. So the story is that for me, I studied computers. I was studying computer science very heavily, and in my second year, my university education disappointed me. So I made that conscious move to say that, hey, I don't think I'm using my talents well in this field, like studying. And when I go for lectures, like the way I present and talk to the lecturer and share my ideas, the lecturer just laughs because he doesn't understand it. So I was like, no, I can't be surrounded with people who don't have the same energy and way of thinking as I am. So I dropped out. And when I dropped out, 24/7, I was behind my computer, just learning tools and learning theories behind how to use those tools. Not just learn how to use the tools, but also learning those theories like color psychology, information hierarchy, how to call attention to a particular thing, how to tell a story with design. Okay. And those are the theories I learned, and then I built a very strong portfolio, and I got hired by the Huawei Technologies company. So I worked.
That was when you were in Ghana.
That's when I was in Ghana. So I worked with them for 6 years, and working there for 6 years, I got moved up the ladder to senior visual designer. So I was designing billboards and print media, brochures, and everything for the whole of West Africa. So anywhere Huawei finds themselves, I have to design the billboard, and I have to sign off on whether it's the right, how it looks on the billboard. That's how it's supposed to be. So I was doing that for 6 years, and I was able to save enough, and I started traveling the world. There I went to Amsterdam. I met my current wife.
Why am I seeing some in him? Please continue.
I met my wife. She was there, so we fell in love, and and that's why I decided to move from Ghana to Amsterdam. Like it wasn't really for me. I was thinking actually, if I go there, how am I going to survive? But sometimes it takes a leap of faith and just trust in a certain process you've been through your whole life that everything will work out. So I went there. I resigned from Huawei Technologies. I went there, and I had to start from scratch again, and that was quite challenging. But it's also that endurance that being in a country like Ghana, where you try to do things, the doors are shut, but you still feel deep down inside you, this is something you really want, and you are the only one who can let it come out, right? So I did that, and in Amsterdam, I decided to go to like a quick 3-month product designer bootcamp, just to kind of give what I already know, some structure in my head, so that I can present it to people in a way that's in more frameworks, so that they understand my process more. So after the 3-month bootcamp, I just jumped straight into freelancing. So I was a freelancer for a year, and from there we had a kid, so I had to find some stability for a while. So then I moved into full-time employment. So I worked as a product designer, more UI focused, because that's easier for my transition from visual design. So I moved into as a UI designer for an HR platform, and with the HR platform, it was more data analytics. So I really learned how to design with data in mind, show graphs, visualization of data. That was very important. So, and it was really great. And I was working there for 6 months, and unfortunately, Corona hit. So when Corona hit, they always in Europe, when it comes to businesses, they try to cut down the least liable employee. So I just started the company, so them cutting me off would be easier because then I don't have strong ties with them. So they told me this, they cut me off 6 months. It was tough. And like, that's the time my wife was also pregnant with my kid. He's 4 now. So it was just tough because now I lost a job and I was expecting a kid and all that. But deep down, I just felt like, no, this is a story being written, and I need to be that hero in the story. I don't know if you guys watch Naruto or anything, but like, you know, that's
you watch One Piece.
Yeah, I watch One Piece.
Yeah,
too.
so like Luffy.
Yeah, exactly. You know that rise. You know that rise.
All odds are against you, but then you still want to,
exactly. When the odds are against you, that's when you feel like this is it. You know, and you write that story. So that's what I did, and while taking care of the baby in the night, he was sleeping on me. I was applying for jobs.
Wow.
I saw an Adidas posting, and with the Adidas posting, I felt at that moment some imposter syndrome hit me because Charlie, I was like, Charlie, me, I don't have a degree. I just moved to this country. Who am I to apply to a company like that?
And at that point, you had just done visual design for 6 years and then UI for like 6 months.
Yeah, so I was very insecure about it. But I told my wife, Yusina, and she was like, yeah, just apply to it. You have nothing to lose, right? Like, what if you apply to it and they don't say anything? You just learn, like, okay, yeah. So I applied to Adidas for the first time and I got rejected. It hurt me, but the recruiter that I got rejected by from Adidas, when he interviewed me, we vibed so much that he said that I just made an impression on him. So he said that in the next few months there'll be another position and he would quickly hook me up there. So I just waited, still applying for jobs, still rejection, and after a month he reached out saying that, hey, are you still open? There's another interview, I want you to go there. And with that interview, the hiring manager is now like a very good friend of mine still now, and he's a mentor to me as well. He's a lead designer, also a freelancer, and we had the interview. Immediately he said, I'm going to hire you. So I just did a basic design challenge, and he was just mind blown with how I was approaching it, because I think for his team as well, he was looking for someone with a very diverse perspective and not what everyone does, you know. So, and I was the one. So when he hired me, I worked for Adidas for 3 years. Yeah, 3 years in Adidas, and I moved to Schiphol Airport. I think for Adidas, I realized that I wasn't going as I want to. And as much as Adidas was like a perfect company, basketball court right in the office, a gym there, like it's the perfect environment for you to be very comfortable. And we all know that sometimes when you stay in your comfort zone for too long, you don't grow. So I started feeling that a lot in the years, and luckily the mentor I was telling you about, he had moved from Adidas a year already, and he was at Schiphol Airport. And he immediately messaged me like, "Hey, are you tired of selling shoes?" when he said that, I was like, that was like,
that's serious.
I was like, yeah, okay, yes, I am. And then it happened, and I had an interview at Schiphol Airport, and I got it as a senior UX designer, and I also worked at Schiphol for a year. Now, the reason why, coming to your question, the reason why I chose to move into freelance is that I realized that with all the companies I've worked for, I create really awesome things, very innovative things. But the innovation ends when companies stop seeing possibilities. Innovation stops when companies start thinking in the box and not out of the box. And I think all my experiences, I've noticed that it gets to that point where companies just feel like let's play it safe and not think out of the box. And then I start having issues with them because I'm someone who wants to grow. I want to innovate. I want to think out of the box. And I think that for me, I started building my values, my personal values as well as a person, and what I want to do, what I want to make out of my life on this earth, you know. And I realized that it doesn't align with certain companies. So then I was like, okay, then I think I want to become a freelancer so that I choose who I want to work with. I play by my own rules. And if you're a company and I see that you're a good company, you're a big name, but you don't align with my values, then I would say, okay, hey, maybe I can just offer you this service, but not my full service. You know, I never close the door. I just learn how to draw lines with people. So that's what I did. And I'm a freelancer now. And since January, it's been great. It's been tough because then I have to start reprogramming my mindset on how to approach things, how to network again. You know, sometimes networking is so nice, but it's also very draining, you know. But it's important because you can't get to the top alone. You know, you can't get to the top alone. So that's something I realized. So I'm opening my network again to start connecting with a lot of people just to get inspired, because sometimes you'll be a bit low and down and not inspired. But if you see what someone is doing, like, yeah, I can do this, and then you just get sparked up again, and you work with people. So that's it.
That was something you were talking about the last time. The people you surround yourself with. They kind of just push you to the top.
Yeah, it's true. It's very, very true. Because if I look at my path, since I moved to Amsterdam, it's been people I've known, like who I encountered, just gave like, hey, I know this person needs this thing. You want to speak with him? Right. And after I speak, it's a gig for me. I don't go in any meeting expecting work. I just go into a meeting expecting connection, expecting myself to make an impact, and that's it. So if I go and I speak with you and you think that you want my service, I was like, okay, then let's talk. Let's see if we are on the same page and work together. So that's why, hence, I'm also here, because like we've been chatting since half of last year or something.
It's been over a year.
Yeah, it's been over a year. Wow. And I'm here, and I was like, this is a good moment, because I'm also a freelancer now, so I can do more. If I was working full time in a company, like it would be so much work. But I've also done really cool things in Adidas, at Schiphol. I don't know if you saw my Instagram when I was coming.
Schiphol Airport.
That user interface. That was just something small I did. I remember I also worked on when you arrive at the airport and you're waiting for your luggage, right? There's a big screen there, and previously it was just the screen telling you that this is your flight and your baggage will be on this belt. That's it.
Oh yeah.
But after I saw the problem, the issues the users were having with it, I translated that into features. So right now, it looks like you see your flight, you see if your flight has landed or is still boarding, so that you know that, okay, your bag is on belt, and it actually tells you the minutes you have to wait. Because in the airport baggage areas, they have cameras, so and they use also algorithms like AI to also count all the bags. So they'll know that, okay, this bag from this flight will take this long because of how the trolley is moving, how fast or slow it's moving. So I use that concept and architecture to create this feature where people see a simplified version of where their bag is. So that was to solve the question, where's my bag? And how long do I have to wait? So, you know, but it took so much work, but I was able to do it. So these are the things I do on a daily basis, and I think that I can offer more to this world and do more already. Yeah.
I mean, what you just said alone is very cool. The fact that you're able to see such a problem and think through ways of coming up with a solution, because we have personally faced it, but I think in our airports we don't have all these things you're talking about, like the cameras and all these to track it. So, because it can sometimes be at the belts just for like an hour. You don't know where your bag is. Whether you left it in someone else's country.
But it's the power of user experience, right? And we as product designers, we don't come into to just add on top of things, but we come in to change the way things work. And I think that even places like Ghana International Airport can do something about it. Imagine if an airport hires product designers to build the how do I call it, the interaction, the online interactions, the digital interactions. When people arrive, even Kotoka, they can create a page where you can put in your flight and see all the steps, immigration steps you have taken. That's actually a feature I created at Schiphol. If you go on the schipholpentinel.com, you will see a feature where when you put in the flight, you see every step you take at the airport, security, the checks, how long you have to wait, all that. So there's just so much possibilities for we as UX designers. And I think that personally for me, I always say that I think UX designers are the next business owners and CEOs because we are the people who create products now, and we are going to start companies with the way we work. And stop. We'll just put these corporate companies aside and just start our own businesses and not depend on policies and government to give us income,
because we are more focused on like the experience.
Exactly.
Like the corporates are more tied to the money.
But it doesn't make sense if you focus on making users happy. Money would organically flow.
Exactly. Standard principles.
Exactly. and just that companies are not patient enough to wait. And I think that we as designers, we also owe it to ourselves and companies to show them our process in a simplified way. When we are talking to business people, let's not mention like wireframes. We should speak their language.
Exactly.
They are not as smart as we are.
Exactly.
So we need to find ways to speak their language so that we can be on the same page. And I think that if we do that, the landscape of like digital innovation in Ghana here will change, because I've already seen it happen in Europe, and I think that it's going to take a while, but it's a process. Everything is a process,
So I'm really happy that you're here, and I like that we are.
I'm also happy.
I'm also happy. I see a lot of these things because some of these things I think we've talked about on the podcast a lot. So at least someone who is not amongst us saying this.
Trump versus
Yeah.
So you were talking about something you did at the airport where they put in their flight and then you can see how long they have to wait. But then where we find ourselves, right? You can go and then the time they put themselves is not going to. Don't you think those things kind of like happen at maybe at that side? Is there a way to it and all that?
Yeah, I like for the airport, they do have cameras that monitor stuff like that. And I think when it comes to, I think officially as an airport, for example, all airports need to have a certain standard of before you be called an international airport. So I think that our airport here in Ghana should have the basics like cameras because they need to monitor security wise so that they like for international security as well. So I think they have the tools, but it's just that no one has showed them how to use what they have. No one has come to them to say that, hey,
the data is there. But
so you can do this and all that.
No one, like, I don't know, maybe someone would have to create a proposal and be like, hey, Kotoka International Airport, we are UX designers and this is what we can do. We think it would give you more of a higher standard to help manage expectations, so that when people land in the airport, they wouldn't be telling their families they'll land within an hour and it will take 2 hours before they come out. You know, like all these things can be avoided with just simple UX solutions. So.
And I also think it's an issue over here where most of the time the people that are making the decisions, they are not focusing on the value, but instead they are more looking at the network they have. So if you are not connected to people of power, it's very difficult for you.
I agree. I agree 100%. And I think this is where we need to disrupt like the system a bit when it comes to, as much as we like maybe we UX designers, we don't know the big people there, but we can create something that we think would work in a place like Kotoka International Airport and just make noise about it. And I think definitely someone would see it. Like someone will see it, and someone's son whose dad is the head of Kotoka International Airport will see something people is trending and be like, oh, look, I see someone did this. Maybe that would be an idea. Like we don't design to make noise, but we just design because we think we can do it better. And that's what we need to. That should be the goal. And naturally, with time, it will be seen. And because like I think that with how the economy, the digital space in Ghana is going, it's going to also hit a point where the world would also look at Ghana, not just Ghana is a party country, come in here, but also, all right, but also Ghana is also a digitally innovative country where people are so innovative. So look at the up and coming designers, because they are going to disrupt the entire system in Africa and just take over the rest of the world, so that should be the narrative we should start writing for ourselves. And that's why I was also talking about like more writing, because people read a lot, right? But people don't see a lot of content when it comes to just writing from our heads here in Ghana. I'm speaking for Ghana because I come from Ghana, but I think it's not just Ghana, it's the rest of like every continent here, every country in Africa. I think that if we all join forces and just create a collective of writers and show the world how we think of things, it can be, you can choose to do it in business, you can choose to do it in design. It's not just, I'm not just talking design, everything, and that's why I'm hoping that this publication, I'll try to structure it in a way that it would be UX, but it will also be business, it will also be marketing, it will also be social media, just to give everyone a voice, and a voice and a platform that they can be heard on, so I'm hoping that these things would slowly be the little things that we can do to grow our country and also give us opportunities.
And also in terms of advocating, right? Have you ever been in a situation, maybe working with a client or a company where design wasn't really, or it's more of an afterthought, like an afterthought then, where they don't really consider it when it comes to making decisions? Have you ever been in such situation? And if you have, how did you advocate for design?
Well, I was here. I don't know if I should be mentioning company names, but I worked for a company as a visual designer. I think everyone knows which company I was. Well, I was a visual designer there, and I think that at the point where I realized that I don't want to just design billboards and just place a phone there and say that the phone is 100 and something, so buy it. But I wanted to have benefits of having a phone like that. But this is where I had to negotiate the words or the content coming on the print against the fact that they don't want too much on it.
You just want to put the price.
Yeah, exactly. But this is why I explained that if you want people to buy something, you need to show them what is in it for them before you start telling them how much it's going to cost. Because like when it comes to human psychology, they need to be fed with like things that would to increase their dopamine level, and after increasing the dopamine level, you can then rationalize why this is how much, if I increase the dopamine level, this is how much it's going to cost. So it's not just about selling a phone, but it's about the tag on the phone and how they would feel if they buy the phone. So these were things that I had to talk a lot with my managers about, because anytime as I add them to the process of me designing, we agree that this is how it's going to be. But when the finalized work comes, there's always like, too much text and stuff. So I always had to explain. And I think that I was able to, as a UI designer, visual designer then, I was able to meet them halfway by creating like icons that also speak, that say certain things that you don't need to use words on. And that was a good middle ground where I worked. So that from a point onwards, I was using more iconography to say certain things than just saying camera. I'll just put an icon of a camera there, things like that. And that helped them see that design can still work, even if they can't see it. There's always a way in design, there's always a way in design.
All right, I want to take a few steps back.
Okay.
Adidas.
To
work with you said yourself is pretty.
Adidas. Adidas.
Very, very huge.
Unfortunately, you got rejected the first time, but you left an impression. What do you think you did different that time? Because it's one thing to impress whoever is interviewing you, and it's another thing for them to even call you back after a month. What do you think you did? So I can also go and do that.
For sure. I think. The recruiter is a very good friend of mine. We hang out most of the time. Wow. And like even after Adidas, like after 4 years, we still hang out. And I asked him this question too, that hey, how come when I got rejected the first time, we still kept in touch? And he just told me that he could see my just me being very authentic.
Right.
just being very myself. If I'll make mistakes, I'll make mistakes, but just be myself, not following the typical interview style, because on LinkedIn they have this whole course of how to have an interview. But the thing was that I was thinking, if I do follow these courses, like, it wouldn't be who I am, you know. So I think that for him, he said that how I just was myself, talking about where I come from and what I want to do, just like how I told you. So I'm just wanting to give back, but using the platform of design to be able to speak up and transform places, you know, and uniquely add my touch to it. And that's what he just remembers from me, because he spoke with so many thousands of applicants, and I was the only one he remembered. So that's how come I got the job. Just being yourself. And if you're scared, you admit that, I'm a bit scared, because Adidas is a big deal. And my hiring manager, after I got hired, he also told me that I was just different from the rest. That's why he hired me. And he be my mentor now. We still talking. He just feels that pride that, like, he knew it, and what I'm doing is exactly what he could see. Just being able to be yourself in any situation, whether you find yourself in a place you're comfortable with or not comfortable, just be yourself and staying true to who you are. No matter where you are, is key to just leaving a mark anywhere you go.
I think that's true. Sorry, have you seen the Martha video? The lady that
the product marketer.
I think she had the same mindset. I don't know if you've seen that video on LinkedIn, where she got fired from where she was, and she did the whole video, a minute, 30 minutes. And now she's not looking for jobs. Hiring managers are doing video to hire her. Right? So it's just like just being different from what the actual, or like everybody else is doing at the interview process. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's true. You need, like, I think that it's very important that we all be ourselves in anything. And I think that if you are yourself, the imposter syndrome thing wouldn't hit you that much, because the imposter syndrome only is triggered when we start comparing ourselves to others.
Put yourself somewhere.
It starts when we start but if you stop comparison and you accept that I am me, my experiences are very different from what someone has experienced, so I can't expect to be like that person in any way. But I can only look at myself and ask myself, how can I be better every day? What can I do? What are the smart goals, you know, that I can actually make it more tangible to reach, rather than looking at someone who is all the way up there and thinking that, hey, this for one day, I can't get there now. It's not about that. It's about looking at where you are, seeing what you have, and using what you have to grow. And I think that would help silence the imposter syndrome a little bit. So.
I remember doing one of our calls a while ago. You mentioned how the personal branding you did, how you branded yourself to be like more African. And I don't even want to touch on that.
Oh yeah, well, that is great. You know, living in Ghana for 28 years, I didn't think that if you come from an African country, you be how do I call it? You be spotlighted. I want to use spotlight because I want to use a positive word for it and not a negative word. So you will be spotlighted. That means that you would when you go to let's say a networking event, definitely someone will notice you. People will notice you because you are you. Like you are a person of color. So that, I think some people you feel insecure about that, but I think personally for me, I jumped on the positive side of things, and I use that to brand myself. So I branded myself as a born and raised in Ghana, an African designer, but I'm merging my cultural beliefs and approaches to modern ways of work and making it very unique, so that it will create a space for diverse people to work. So I was looking more from branding myself coming from a continent that struggles with a lot of stuff, you know, and being able to go through the cracks and come out as a plant and grow into a tree. So that is something that I branded myself, and it brought a lot of people to me, and genuine people who aligned with me, people who had shared my values, you know. And that is, I think, what we need to attract. We need to attract people who have similar values as we have, so that we can be inspired by them every single day. And even for me here in Ghana, I have friends that I went to a cracker with, and blow. I went
Go
to
better school. Go better school.
Yeah, I have friends, and when I came back, it was just seeing the way they think is similar to me, but they're in Ghana. Even though Ghana is difficult, they are doing so well, and there are people who don't like to show off, so they are just doing things quietly, and they are just doing really well because of that, you know. And I just felt so happy that even though I'm far away from my friends, being here, they are on the same level as I am, growing, you know, succeeding with anything we focus our minds on, we make sure it gets done. So it's something that I think we need to have, just being yourself in any situation. And I think that's what I used being in a European country as an African designer. I wanted to also put a highlight on my culture, like my people, like people here, because look, I came from, like I told you my story a little bit, like I dropped out of university and stuff like that. I didn't have like a lot of things to even dream. All I could do was just sit down and just daydream of something I want and just keep daydreaming on it. And luckily I was able to get a cheap ass computer from a friend, and that's how I started, you know, building myself. I was a creative supervisor for in a school here. SOS, I'm a minor college. So I taught there for like 6 years. So that's how I was able to see that I can really learn things and actually help people, because I was teaching the students how to create videos, use softwares, which I didn't know anything about. But immediately I sit behind something, I just understand the theory, and it just starts happening when I start using the tool. So that's how come I was able to, you know, find myself here and just create that African branded person, because this is where I'm from. And I want people to know that it's not, you don't always get up there when you are born and raised in a European country. You can, if you even come from rags, you can change the way you think and move into riches. And when I say riches, it's not money focused. It's more from a more intrinsic point of riches, you know, having value to things that are more than just the physical, you know. And I think for me, that's what I have in Amsterdam. I just have a quiet life. I don't even have a car. I have a bicycle. And I cycle to work. I cycle to places. It's just nice. It keeps there's just a good work and life balance. So I also have time for my family, have time for my friends, have time for myself. So it's just very good balance. And for me, that is riches to me. So I'm okay. You know.
I mean, Amsterdam, people in Amsterdam know for their bicycle. So it's a cultural thing.
If you come to Amsterdam for the first time, sometimes you'll be scared of the bicycle, because I remember my first year I was scared to bike. I'll be biking behind my wife, and I'll be like afraid like something. But now I can bike, I can go anywhere in the rain, sun, wind. I'll just bike, go to places, and even I even put my son at the back seat. So there's a nice kids chair on our bicycle. So he has his kids chair. He just sits down and I'm biking him. He's heavy, but the legs exercise. So I get to do that. So it's just about, you know, being yourself, and that's how come I'm now an African branded. But I don't just want to be an African, but I just want to be a designer who just loves to give back to anyone. And it's not just for designers in Africa, but any designer who just feels like I have nothing, you know, but I just feel that I can do something. So that's who I give back to now, not just African designers, but just everyone in general.
I resonate with that a lot, because I think from the conversations we had earlier, like you told me a lot about the university stuff and all these things. So I think that's how come we sort of connected on that level. Because I also share like a I didn't drop out. I didn't actually go.
You don't go safe.
Serious?
You don't know this.
All this time I thought you went to take.
No. You didn't go.
So see what I said. I see something here.
So Eugene, I have a question. So did you face any pushbacks when you decided to like drop out?
Yeah. Oh, the pushbacks. Oh, there's so many pushbacks. I love my family to bits. I love my family to bits. My family in Ghana. So my dad, my mom, my brother, my sister, they're all here. And there's just, I remember when I told them, they were all just like, are you serious? Like, you know you're not going to have a future anymore, blah, blah, blah. You know, the hate comments came a lot, like the comments that will make you doubt yourself big time, you know, those comments. And sometimes you need to, I was listening to this rap artist, Toby Ngwe, and there was one line that he said that sometimes you need to be rebellious in order to make it. You know, sometimes you need to be the one who everyone says that this person doesn't listen. You need to be outcast. Yeah, you need to be the outcast in order to make it, because people would never see how you see things. And it's also good because then you realize that you're on the right path because you are different, right? And I think that when I made that decision, they all said, no, you're going to fail. Look at all your friends. They're going to finish the university and you're not going to be doing anything in life. And I think for me, when they said that, I was just like, okay, now I'm getting pumped up. So I'm getting pumped up. So let's go. So I was like, let's go. And that just fueled my passion even more to do this, not to prove them wrong, but just to tell myself that I can do anything if I set my mind to it. And I think that is what I did. And I have not regretted, because coming back home now, I can see in my family's eyes, they all feel very proud of me. And they don't like, they respect me on that level. Now, I'm the last of 4 kids. So you can imagine if you're last born and you say you don't want to do something, everybody will hate you. But now they all talk to me like a real mature person, and they even want my advice on things. I was like, okay. So the thing is that, I just want to tell anyone who has this pushback. The thing is, if you deep down, you believe in yourself and you put in the work, you know, it's not like believe in yourself, just go draw it out and just go and sit down. No. You put in the work, and the work itself will just will prove whoever doubted you, you know? And I think that's what I did, and I'm happy I did that. And personally, for me, having a son now, I'm not going to push him to do anything. I'll just keep supporting him. If he wants to start something and he stops it the next day, all I want to understand from him is that what just drives him, you know? And I think that when it comes to parenting and having kids or brothers and stuff, when you see the fire in people's eyes, we shouldn't kill it, but rather we should support it. Who knows, you know? So I think that's something that me and my family here really learned, and they're all okay now.
I mean, I like the fact that you mentioned that if you are getting a lot of pushbacks or you feel like you're the outcast, it means you're on the right path. Because that's something I truly believe.
Yeah, me too.
So for me personally, I always try to be different from everybody. Yeah, like intentionally.
It's true. It's
anytime I see everybody doing the same thing as I am, I feel like, okay, then this is wrong.
Yeah, there's something just like, what can you do different?
Yeah, there's something wrong somewhere. So it's good. And it was the same for me. Like, it was like it's almost like a civil war. My family.
They didn't go to school.
Because it was a very big deal. Like when I said I don't see myself, because I was supposed to go to University of Lagos study archaeology.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, the whole plan was to be a civil engineer, but I didn't submit my tech forms on time. I submitted on the very last day. So, but the Lagos one, I submitted like way before, and it came out. I was supposed to study archaeology, but I just didn't see myself doing something I didn't want to do for 4 years. To me, it was just a waste of time. So I just made a decision. No. My dad, my dad, fight, brought my uncles in and all that. My mom wasn't too happy, but I was like, okay, cool. You know how moms are.
Yeah.
And my dad, I'm gonna fight too. Like, I fought my dad for so many years about this, but then there was this point where, like you're saying, you realize they respect you.
Yeah.
You mentioned, we were going somewhere with myself, my dad, and my mom, and you mentioned something that, he wished he had listened to me, because it turned out that everything I said was right. So it has taught him something, maybe in his next life. And that was like, in that moment, you realize, I mean, you feel this sense of pride.
Yeah, you feel like, acknowledged.
Yeah, exactly. Like everything was worth it. Because like what you're saying, it wasn't like you daydream and not put in the work.
Yeah.
Like I had to, because for me it was like just 4 years. Into this is my school of life. If I don't make it before, like, or it's not like make it, because I'm still there. If I don't put in the work, so at least whoever going to the university,
you can.
I'm at the same level or I'm a little bit above, then I've just failed, really. So you have to put in the work and believe in yourself. It's all about the mentality.
Yeah, because I also faced that pushback when I was transitioning
from engineering.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because they were like, why did they change engineering? Money,
But
me too, I know what to go on. I'm like, nah, this is not something I want to do. And I faced that pushback a lot, and I decided, I want to actually pursue this full time. And right now, they're more than they enjoy for mom.
I was fortunate that nobody didn't.
I mean, you went to university, computer science.
The thing for me is, my dad doesn't cover my school.
No.
My days today, I don't. So I was just making decisions for myself.
Yeah, it's good.
So, and fortunately for me to, design was kind of linked into the computer science. So to them, he's still doing computer science. I think what Sam said, that's the most. Some people just do the daydreaming part. Oh, this is what I want to get. This is what I want to do, and then forget that the input that'll get you there. They are sleeping.
True.
Yeah, true.
Right now you can see proofs. I went to school.
You
also went to school.
But we are all here.
We are all here.
So you just need to put in the work. That's the most important thing.
That is the most important thing. You're right.
Right. I want to take a few steps back. Right. At the beginning, when you were talking about your work, you mentioned something which is design with ethic. Which really, I was like, okay, what is that? Right. So 2 questions in one. The second question is, you worked at Adidas for 3 years. What was it like in terms of like maybe a daily? It was on-site work, right? Office work. So what was like some things that you were doing? Because Adidas is big. So if someone is watching and like, okay, what does it look like to work at Adidas? What would you say? And then also, what do you mean by design with ethics? So
I'll start with the design with ethics. Right. I think for me, I decided to write that article because I've worked in a lot of companies that they focus more on increasing the numbers, like engagement, reduce the drop-off ratios and stuff by creating certain gaps in the user experience that would make it difficult for people to find what they're looking for, so that they stay on the page more and find more things they want to buy, and they get more broke. That with my experience, that is something that when I was working at Adidas, unfortunately, it was just like there were some things that weren't done right, not because of anyone, but just because no one had time to look at it. So then people get lost in an experience, or they land on a checkout page they want to check out, but there's just more things being offered to them to spend their money, whilst they just want to buy a simple shoe for their kid and just go home, or just log out of the computer and focus on what is going on around them. And I realized that as UX designers, we need to keep that in mind, that we are not designing to increase like a profit. We are designing to help people, and as we help people, naturally, the business, the return of investment business will see that when users are happy, the business would be sustained for a longer time, and income would be income flow for the business would keep going. It wouldn't fall. It's just either keep going straight or slowly rise, And I think that most designers design for the numbers more, and they forget why they are even designed the first. Why it is called UX, right? Exactly. Why it's called UX. Then it should be called MX, like the money experience. So I think that's why I did a lot of research, going through what people think about it, what is out there. Like you see sometimes when you're about to close a page, when you go to a shop online, when you're about to close, and then a pop-up, here you go, a discount for your next order. I just want to go. I think that they could have placed that discount in a subtle way. And in my one of the experiences I created for Schiphol, which is actually live, when you go to the Schiphol e-commerce website, Previously there wasn't discount voucher, and the business wanted to just really make the discount voucher very prominent because they needed engagement and downloads for the discount voucher, because the more people downloaded, the more they would use it when they're at the airport. And that was the business opportunity. The business came to like, we want to do this, let's do this. And I was like, wait, pause. Let's think of the user before we think of what you want to do. And why? And I asked certain questions. I did my research, qualitative and quantitative interviews to understand why people would even want to use a discount voucher in the first place. And it came out that they don't want to use discount vouchers because it's just annoying when it pops up right in front of your face. So then the next question I asked myself was that then how can I make it less annoying for people? Because the thing is, when you're shopping, sometimes it's annoying. So then I realized that we can make the voucher very subtle and not pop up in your face, but it will just be a tiny tick at the bottom right of the corner. And you, the user, I wanted to empower the users to make the choice whether to even view more information about it or just dismiss it totally. Exactly. So in that experience, I created that small pill voucher that just appears slowly when you're on the page. So if you don't interact with it, it doesn't block you from anything you're doing on the page. So that was how I was able to please the business and also please users as well. So it's always about finding the balance. And I think that the ethical design I wrote was also focused on, I know that it's difficult to push back business when they come up with a certain solution and they really want it. But as designers, we should be very good negotiators and collaborators, that we don't just draw the line and say, this is my rules as a designer. If you can't make it, fuck off. No, but it's more of these are my rules. I know you can't handle everything, so I will meet you halfway by giving you this. And if you don't like it, then F off. You know, like that's how I put it. Just trying to be very diplomatic and also make sure that the user is always represented in every level of the process, not just when we come up with solutions, but the user should be represented on that level of the business. And we are the representatives of users. Yeah. So we need to always be on that big table where the business is here, the technical side is here, and the user representative is also sitting there. And we are the advocates for users. So when it comes to ethical design, we should always keep it in mind when we are creating platforms, interactions, animations. Think of everyone in every way. And I think that would really help. Yeah.
I like how you mentioned like the whole process end to end of seeing the problem, understanding the problem, and seeing ways to come up with a solution that's still serves the user and the business. And then it's less annoying.
That's something in my experience working in like companies in Europe or all these big companies. I learned it. I didn't know this at the beginning. Like I was very much strong, like it's only for users. I was very like stamping my feet, like users this, users that, business go away, everyone go away. But as I started, I was also mentored by other design leads. So it also gave me a lot of knowledge on things that I didn't have not experienced before. So I just realized that it's not, it's for the users. But the thing is that if we truly want to work together to make an impact, we can't be we can't gatekeep things, you know, we can't gatekeep things. We need to find ways to collaborate with everyone to make things work. I think that's how everything in life is, you know. If you look at the universe in general, if the sun decided that it's not going to shine again, Earth will just freeze into an ice ball, you know, like everything has to meet in the middle somewhere. So why not collaboration amongst design and product teams, you know?
There's this thing called banner blindness. So normally, you know, when you go to these sites, they have this pop-up on top, like big banner thing, right? It's annoying. So I remember I was working on a design, and it was a new feature, right? So I did this thing like this. It wasn't really big, but then it was also on top with the CTA to try it out, right? And during our research, we did a research. doing our research, you realize people were not clicking on that particular thing. Although when you read the copy, it suggests that, oh, there's something you want to try out. But then users were just not clicking on that. So we had to change the idea of bringing that banner, like that thing in a banner, and putting something like what you did, which was come like very on the bottom right. And that's something I noticed that sometimes we think it might work because it's like this big thing over
people
there.
just ignore it.
People just ignore it. So sometimes when I see, so sometimes when I see designs like that, the first question I ask myself is, have they really tested this thing out? Because it might shock you that although it's big, people will not click on it.
Most of the time, I don't think I click, because when I see it as ad.
So automatically
so just ignore it.
Yes.
You add it to the way the browser is.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So it's just like, totally,
right.
Although it's important, but then automatically our mind goes, nah, there's an ad. I don't want to. And you just click.
So like I'm very much like, I don't really like using pop-ups a lot, especially for stuff we want to highlight, because automatically once you see the pop-up, you search for the clues.
It's very
that's what they're looking for.
Search for the clues.
It's programmed now. The user
behavior.
I mean, before we wrap up, Adidas for me, I'm serious about that picture.
Adidas.
You put your that's the issues.
Hey, I used to do on my cellular.
Yeah, well, Adidas, like as I was saying, Adidas is a great place to work, because when I say great, it will make you just very relaxed. You know, it's a nice place, very very nice people. You know, when it comes to the work culture, like the collaboration amongst teams, everyone is excited to work together, right? And I think for me, the years working in Adidas, I worked on 3 main projects that like is something that I would say I'm proud of. I worked on the Football World Cup, which happened some years back. So Adidas was sponsored. The one at Qatar.
The one that
happened,
Russia was 2018.
2018.
No, this was recent. The
Qatar
one, that one. So Adidas was sponsoring them too, and so we had to find ways to give people the opportunities to win, like the match ball jerseys of Messi, and like maybe signed versions of the shoes for people. So we thought of a raffle experience. So in Adidas, the people who work on the .com, like Adidas.com, the team is very different from the team that works in the app. So I worked in the .com side. So we were called the .com team. And then we were focused on how can we bring more engagement and traffic into our ecosystem as well, because the app was doing a good job already. So the app already had raffle experience. So like this raffle is like you sign up and you'll be put amongst thousands of people who are the same football, and there'll be a shuffle, a system does that, and then someone is chosen at the end of a specific time. So my job was how do we translate this experience that the app already has into .com, but make it feel so natural that people would feel like a uniform experience for both the .com and app. So at that point, I wasn't a senior designer then, and I had to hold the fort for hiring, because they wanted to hire a senior designer to take over that big project, and I was just a mid designer trying to work myself and learn and grow. So for over 7 months, they hadn't hired anyone. So with that 7 months, I was working on that experience with the knowledge I have, and I was always growing. So I was able to build a whole raffle experience and use very smart hook models, frameworks that I've read about, like the hook model, to create an experience where people land on a page and the first thing they'll ask is that, why should I sign up for this raffle? What's in it for me? Like, am I going to waste my time? So then I first give them the benefits of actually signing up for a raffle like that. And one of the benefits is that you're not just going to win an item, but you're also going to be part of the Adidas brand, and you have a membership package waiting for you when you sign up. So it's about telling them what's in it for them and finding ways to let them sign up. So when they sign up, they enter into the draw. And even with that draw, the experience, it needs to be very clear. So I show them the steps that the whole raffle will take, that when you sign up, this is what you should expect, this is what you expect. So it set the expectation for everything. There was transparency, nothing was hidden. So people felt safer to give their email addresses to Adidas. And for Adidas, that is a win, because then we have data to personalize with for people. So it was a win for the business and also a win for the user, because then they have there's openness in communication, so that they know that Adidas is not trying to just take their money. So that was how I was able to create that experience. And it was I think I left right after I finished that experience. And after the football World Cup was going on, I could see how people were actually using it and winning. And I was like, that's a feeling I always love, when I see that it's just people using it and actually just enjoying using it, and that is one of the things I worked in Adidas. So yeah, in Adidas, it's just really cool projects, right? And they give you the space to explore. But personally for me, I felt I was too comfortable, and this is just a personal thing, because like there's everything you need. So you will feel so safe that you will not even think of going to another company. But then that thing, you also start feeling a bit stuck. If it's basketball court I want, I can always go to a park. I will have a basketball court. If it's a gym, I would have a gym subscription, So the things that I felt were keeping me there were not strong enough to keep me there anymore. So then I made a decision to move. But it was, I enjoyed my time there. I met people that I'm still really close to now. So I moving from Adidas was good for me. But if you have dreams of Adidas, for me personally, I believe that if I was able to connect, get a job after one rejection, get a job in Adidas, not because of any merit, but just because I was just myself, then anyone can. I believe that, like, don't see a company as a big company. So you just trust in yourself and go take a shot. And if you get an interview, that's when you show your true self. Let them see that energy that they need in their team. Because like most teams, like most remote teams, they are just really drained, and they need some burst of energy when it comes to morning stand-ups. When you wake up in the morning, morning stand-ups, people are like, yeah, hi, good morning. But like for me, during morning stand-ups, when I was at Adidas, you already hear music playing. So when I get into when I get into the calls, people are like, wow, Eugene, that's a really nice thing. And I start talking about music with them. And already start seeing that people are waking up, and then we have the morning stand up, and that just that makes sense.
It's funny you mentioned that the music thing, because that's something I did. I introduced to why I couldn't do it, and then someone took over. The same thing. I say everybody was just bored. Say what they see, and then go away. And I just started playing music, and then it has become a tradition. So you can do it too. Just keep going. When I get and LinkedIn, honestly, LinkedIn helped me, because I connected with the recruiter on LinkedIn, and back then I was really active on LinkedIn, and I plan to be more active on LinkedIn now. But the thing is that use all platforms that you can to increase your net worth. I think that's very important. And I saw that on Instagram they'll be organizing this code and cocktail, and I was like, wow, like the space is getting big, and I feel like there should be more events like this. Yesterday I was speaking with some friends I started university with, but they finished and I didn't. And when I was speaking with them, I asked them that, hey, what are you guys doing? And they were doing things that they were working, but what they were doing was not what they even studied for, and they just felt very low energy. I was like, guys, I knew you guys were smarter than me when we were in class. So what is happening? And they told me, we have been lazy, and I just noticed that they don't have spaces to get inspired by people. So they are very boring. It's just boring, and they just give up. And I even showed them your Instagram, and I told them what you guys are doing and what I'll be doing with you today. And they were all like very excited to also get boosted too, And I think that is most important. I'm happy that I hope that there will be more events in Ghana like this, so that people would get fired up together, I think that is very important.
I mean, before
we are trying to, the events will happen because you're also trying to organize events just to create this community vibe amongst the design community and anybody who's interested in becoming a designer in the future. So these are things that definitely happen.
Yeah.
But then speaking of like this community and inclusion, all the projects you work on, right?
Involved a lot of
large scale, almost global basis, right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to understand, like, how do you make sure whatever you design can be used by like quite a number of people?
Yeah,
with
with different backgrounds. That is it's still difficult, to be honest. It's difficult, but I think that it really starts from the people who are creating that product. Because I think that creating a very diverse and inclusive feature or product involves the team working on it and the way the team thinks, right? As Schiphol, there was we were working on this project that we had to focus. The business wanted to focus on one demographic, and they knew that if they focus on the data, said that the demographic that is bringing in more income is this demographic, and it's understandable. But my argument with that was that it's bringing in more income, but what about the rest? But the rest of the demographics are also equally important. So how can we not just focus on one demographic, but focus on how do I call it? The diverse sets of people. And I came up with the solution of creating personas not based on demographic, but based on behavior. Because there's you see a lot of demographics, but behaviors are very similar.
Yeah.
So if I like A, more people, the behavioral people who also like A, right? So it's about more creating. So I was pushing for creating personas that is based on behavior than demographic, which makes more sense. Then we know that, okay, if this type of people like spending, let's create a persona for the spenders. Let's just call them the spenders, rather than saying that people who come from Ethiopia are this persona. People who come from Ghana are this persona. No, we shouldn't do that. We should rather create personas from a behavioral point of view rather than demographic. So that's how I pushed, and because I did that, we were able to create a feature that didn't focus on just that group, but also focused on the behavioral patterns of people and help them create these features. So that's one of the ways we can create innovative and inclusive products, by first looking at the team and making sure that the team also thinks that way. More from it's not just about the data, but it's also about the behaviors of the people. And I think that if we are able to tell that story also to the business part, business will also understand, because the business pushes back when they don't understand. They don't understand things. So I also understand. So we as product designers, we need to find a way to speak the business language and also make it super simple that everyone would understand, and you have buy-ins from every part of the business, from the technical side, because developers have certain requirements. And you need to explain to them your vision. And when you explain to them and they also tell you the limitations, you can always meet them halfway. So personally for me, I really like just going down to earth with developers, just like, hey, explain this to me so that I can understand, and I also explain to you. So I really work very closely with developers and just vibe with them to understand their pain points. Because as user experience designers, we shouldn't just focus on pain points of users. Everyone we work with is a user, right? So it's about how to collaborate with developers is another thing. As a UX designer, how to speak the business language. So it's a lot for we UX designers. But I think that if we are able to master these crafts, that is what truly makes us experienced UX designers. It's not even about the time you spend doing it. It's about just being able to master a certain skill, how to give feedback. Because like in my 7 years of working in Europe, I've encountered so many feedback moments that people didn't know how to give feedback. So there was a lot of assumptions, and that just created more ambiguity with communication and not really a lot of openness when it comes to collaboration. So collaboration and innovation was stuck because they did not give feedback, and that was a problem, you know. So I think that we need to like view things from that angle where we grow ourselves as designers, craft. I think craft is very important. I remember when I was in Adidas, my mentor back then, he was my manager as well. He told me that I should grow my craft. I didn't even understand, but now that I look back, I understand what craft means. Craft is how we work with people to create kick-ass products for everyone to enjoy, not just the business to get money, but also users to enjoy. And I think that is how to create inclusive products, by first working as a team to come up with these features and thinking out of the box and more from a behavioral point of view than demographic. So I think diversity and inclusion is not about demographic for me. It's more about behavior.
Yeah. I agree with that one.
I was about to touch on personas just before we wrap up. So I've been seeing this a lot, especially in case studies where I'll see the persona, but then the solution they came up with, you realize that it's not in any way tied to personas. And that's something you touched on, and I wanted to also buttress, where I feel like personas play a good role when it comes to recrafting good solutions. And maybe probably because of some of these boot camps where they make it look like a checklist.
So they have
you need to have like a persona in there, and sometimes crafting that persona itself, they don't really
takes so much time.
But then for them, it's like I said, a checklist. So maybe what they like eating, probably it's not even related to the product you are building, right? And you see it on case studies, and I feel like, no, there's something wrong about this that we need to address.
I agree.
But then, like you said, we are not writing a lot these days.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's something that's also affecting like the education when it comes to crafting like good personas.
Let me add to that. You know, I what I noticed with the learning style is that like for being in Europe, I realized that their learning style is more learned by doing. You know, and in Ghana, because I went through this, it's not really learned by doing. It's more just chew and pour. And that is something that I had to unlearn myself. I needed to stop chewing and pouring and just practice, learn by doing. And I think that's why I really want us to collaborate and create this publication for people who are hungry to read and learn and do. You know, so most of my articles, if you see, I don't just write to inspire. I write and put actionable steps in that you can also adapt in your workflow to help you with whatever. So I think that one of the things that I would be focusing on in the publication would be that if you write an article, put in tangible steps, make it actionable. Don't just don't just tell a story about your life. Tell a story about your life and add how you got to where you were, as in steps, so that people can actually read and do something with it, and not just read and get inspired and forget it. You know, so that is one thing that I'm hoping that we will do more, because like things like creating personas based on behavior and not demographic is very important, because if you are able to create personas based on behavior, then you would actually use it in your process, because then you would always refer back to how do my users behave when they see color red. You know, stuff like that. So it's more behavior than just, you are in Nigeria, so this is how we should create things for you or something.
Wow. Last one. Last one, and I'm going to So it's actually not a question. It was more of an experience, right? So recently, people I'm working with, I had like a discussion with the customer success team and like the people that mostly interact with our customers. And I wanted to get a fair idea of our personas, like our customers' personas, because I've been working for them. I know a general overview of the people that actually interact with our platform, but then I want to understand them on a deeper level so that I'll be able to craft like a better solution when coming. Because currently we've like launched a new more like a 3.2, and the onboarding is not so great. So right now, I'm currently thinking of creating a new like onboarding flow, but then I want to really understand them. And that's something I feel like there's not enough education when it comes to how we can use personas when designing products. Yes. And that's something I just wanted to touch on. Not
quick one. Relax now.
I can see.
Everybody, I have more questions.
Okay, bring it on.
No, so about the publication, how can people, anyone who wants to join,
I think I'm setting it up. I think that I want to create like 20 seats for the first like 20 writers. Okay. Just like a limited seat, because I want to have a founding team of writers, right? So that we have more conversation before we even start writing, because I also want to help all of us grow from approaching writing from a more actionable point of view, and not just writing because we just want to write, you know. We want to write with an intent. So I think that I want to take my time with that, and so I want to create just 20 seats for people. So I think the easiest would be reaching out to me on LinkedIn and saying that you're interested. So as much as when people reach out, when I see that it hits the 20, whoever maybe reaches out, I'll be like, yes, I'm open for it, but maybe you can become a writer after we set everything up. So just hold on to that. It's not like I'm not saying you're not going to be a writer. The more writers are on the platform, the more big it grows. So I think that that's something that I want to do now. So how to get into the publication? Just reach out to me. Maybe I'm thinking maybe I'll just create a post on LinkedIn and also create a call to action. But you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I would do my best to answer and add you to the list of writers for the publication. I have the name yet, but I have to create a whole brand and before.
We'll leave the links to the publication.
You said it here first, though.
Yeah, I said it here first.
Exclusive. We'll leave the links to the publication if it's out by the time this video goes live. If not, regardless, we'll leave the links to
I'll
social.
send you guys.
It's LinkedIn and everything, so you can reach out to that.
That'll be great.
It's both of you.
Do
this. I mean, before we end, this has been a very nice conversation.
Thanks, man.
Our producer is giving me knocks. I can feel it. I can feel the knocks, but I mean, just before we end, you've already shared the socials and that. You can tell them something.
I wouldn't talk much. All I'll say is that I think that we all have the opportunity to become the best versions of ourselves, and we need to trust in ourselves, because we can't expect anyone to trust ourselves for us. You know, we are the only ones who can believe in ourselves, and we need to surround ourselves with people who give us that same energy. You know, because keeping your energy is very important. That's something I've learned. You know, because mental health issues are also there. Sometimes people go through burnout, and personally for me, when I was living in Ghana and I was hustling and bustling, there were days I couldn't even sleep. You know, and your mental health too is important. So I think as entrepreneurs, as go-getters, we need to make sure that we balance our mental health against all the hustle and bustle of life, because it's important to have your mind straight, like have your mind a bit peaceful, so that you can deal with the other information coming in. And I think that when that happens, we connect to a different level of vibration, you know, a different level of work that people see us and be like, how did you do this? Like, I tried this, but I didn't see what you saw. You know, that just shows that you operate on that level of just peace and true, like you connect to your heart and design. Because personally, for me as a designer, I design with my heart. Some people say that you shouldn't put in your heart in design, because when customers reject it, you feel hurt. But the thing is that you feel hurt because you care. You know, and as a designer, you just need to grow your emotional intelligence. It's not about just don't feel. It's about growing your emotional intelligence to know when to speak, when to draw your line, when to speak up, when to give feedback. You know, and even as designers, some of us, when people give us feedback, we feel so upset. Sometimes our imposter syndrome hits us a lot. But I think that feedback is meant for us to grow, and some people don't know how to give feedback. So we as designers also need to learn how to give feedback and receive feedback. That's also very important skill I learned the hard way. But that also helped me. So I think that just trusting yourself, grow your craft, and I think consistency is very important, because as people, we need to make sure that we are consistent with everything we do. And as we do it from time to time, it grows and naturally it works. You know, that's how life works in general. So I think that's all I have.
Career advice, life advice, but we didn't have a relationship.
Well, I think I have a lot of relationship advice, and
we need to do a segment, Reagan's corner.
You guys have all met my wife online, so you know how she is, and I think that for me, I with my past relationships being in Ghana, it was, let me tell you the type of guy I was when I was in Ghana.
Please, guys, Eugene Bos. Eugene Bos is one is. The rest of the show, let's go.
Well, what is
Reagan's gonna add some laugh tunes?
Okay. Well. The thing is that love is important, you know. And I think for my wife and I, we are freelancers, and we are also starting a business. She has her own business. It's more focused on creating a space for feminine professionals. So she's not just focusing the space for people in Amsterdam, but she's thinking of expanding it to everywhere in the world. So this is called sisterspace.co. It's on Instagram for all the ladies and people who identify as feminine. You can check it out. Sisterspace.co on Instagram. She writes as well, and soon she'll be opening a platform where you can register as a member. And one of the benefits you get as a member is that you are connected to a big network of women who just want to support you, who are there to push you up no matter where you are in life, whether coaching, whether advice, and more. It comes from a spiritual approach. It's not like tagged with religion, but it has this. You need to find yourself. You need to find who you are. You need to be your authentic self to discover your true purpose in life. That's the approach she uses. So she just started it, and I personally, I'm also starting my own company. I'm still thinking of. I have the concept. I've done the whole lean UX canvas business and all that. I have it there. I have my manifesto. So that's also something that I would release as I'm growing my network. And for me, I'm also growing my brand. And because of that, we are realizing that this all couldn't have happened if we didn't meet. You know, because I think that one thing that relationship can do is either it can make you or break you. And I think that the breaking part is not bad. It's how you handle that moment of, because
it will just teach you something new.
It's about breaking old behaviors that didn't serve you as a person. Because personally for me, I think my wife would be watching this when it's out, but I'm someone who I'm very stubborn sometimes, and when I set my mind on something, nothing can change it. But I think that for me, in the relationship, that wall was broken. So I learned to just listen more than just make my own decisions and just go, and that helps. So I think relationships can make or break you. And for me, and my advice to anyone who is a go-getter and entrepreneur is that if you're an entrepreneur, the person, your partner, should also be that like-minded person. Else, being an entrepreneur, if you are an entrepreneur as you are, and you meet a girl who just wants to be basic and just work a simple job and not even help give you ideas, then you will struggle, because you would always, when you are growing, you see that she's not growing, and that would be a challenge for you, you know? I know, like for women, at least, we want to be the provider. Women also can be providers, but women, we want to be providers. But if someone is not matching on our level of thinking, it's always difficult. And I think that for me, I God has blessed me to have someone who has that entrepreneur mindset. And you know, like when things are tough, we know that this month we can't go on restaurants that much because we need to save money because business is not booming, and some months things are good, so we are able to, you know, spend quality time, you know, and I think that's important. So on relationships, I'll say that find someone who matches your energy, because it's not easy. It's not easy. No one said it's easy, you know. So just go in a relationship knowing that it's not easy. And I think that when people in relationships face certain things, they should see what they need to learn from it and reflect on themselves that, okay, what did I do wrong or right in this thing? And what you learn from it, you take it and grow yourself, you know? And I think that would help build the empire. And for my wife and I, we say we are going to be billionaires with all the business. We're going to be billionaires. So I remember there's this thing I like to do. I do vision boards and stuff. And I created this. I'm also a visual designer. So I created a Forbes cover from scratch with her picture, and I kind of put like billionaire this, owner of this, just to, and I framed it up nicely. I didn't buy expensive things for her. I didn't buy expensive. I just did that nicely and I wrapped it up and I just gave it to her, and that alone just gave her so much energy to go for it even more. And I think relationship, we should look at things more from that point of view, more than just the physical point of view that, I've taken you out or I bought you shoes. So like, that's what it means to be. No, it's about more, edifying each other, supporting each other from the career side, from the business side, just supporting each other to grow as people. And I think that every human being should do that already. But if you find that special one, you can do that with more confidence, knowing that you're helping someone you love, you know? Then that's how I think, then that's how I view my relationship. That's the little I have. That's the little I have.
Are you happy now?
So now we have career, life, relationship, design. You hear everything. This guy can relate a lot on now.
Oh, nice.
Wow, guys. Eugene Bos, the only boss. That was a very nice conversation.
I really enjoyed it too. Thanks.
We'll do this again. Either we'll come there.
Yes, please.
We'll go there.
I would. You guys should. To be
I'm telling you, we'll go there. We'll go to the next.
Yeah.
This was a nice conversation.
Thanks for having me, everyone.
You guys can unzip now. You want to say bye-bye?
So hard to say bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Jiva, please, I'm sorry.
I don't like and I hate.
Okay.
Yeah, but
because most dog lovers, they hate cats.
You guys want a dog channel now? I mean, I've never had a pet channel.
Going at it. Yo.
But I don't know, if you study me, you realize I post a lot of dog
Dogs,
stuff.
yeah.
So it's, and then so I used
People,
to.
you know, they like and making people talk.
So I used to what's it called? I used to do photo manipulation, and I had to sit down to like analyze myself, like what is it that's one thing that I need to like, you know, start focusing on, like find my style. And all this happened somewhere 2021.
Yeah.